We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm here with the beautiful Megan Hill, and we
Hi.
want to talk about conversations that change everything. So those conversations that you have, it could be with a good friend, it could be with a stranger, sometimes, um, or some magical wizards. And those conversations that you have, and you just everything seems different. Sometimes the world seems different. Sometimes like you seem different. Um, and these are the kind of conversations I want to have. So, Megan, what have you had those conversations? Is that something like kind of abundant in your life? Because you hang out with some pretty magical people.
I do hang out with magical people. Um, it's kind of interesting how, I don't know about you, Cassie, but like there's been times in my life where I'm having a lot of conversations, but they're not really going anywhere. They feel like the same conversation, just different day, like same storyline, like you just kind of are chatting. And then you have conversations that just like open you up to a whole new world. And those are the ones I love. And yes, I have magical people, but I also love like those magical like conversations that you have with a stranger that just are unplanned, unscripted, just go in places that both of you walk away having a different sense of, like the joy it is to be alive and the world that we live in. And so those are just so amazing. And I ask for those more and more all the time, or what I can be that creates that, because sometimes people aren't necessarily, they're used to kind of playing the same script over and over again. So asking people different questions starts and can open that door so that you have those kinds of conversations more often than just with certain people.
I love what you said script because it feels that sometimes you're like, okay, what's my line? Okay, so you said this, and I'm supposed to say this, and having this back and forth that, like, for me, it's not only is it like not an enlivening conversation, but it's hard for me. Like I've had to practice being present with things that don't stimulate me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Like
okay,
my
what?
who's stimulating me right now. Sorry, literally.
I love that question that you brought up of like what can I be that would like create those conversations? That's such a great question. I've never
Yeah.
actually considered that.
Yeah, well, there's, if you look at like that script, it's like, okay, I don't know, you're a mom too. Like I feel like there's a lot of mom conversations and I'm like, yep, what are you guys doing for Christmas? Oh, like how's that? It's like those can be those conversations that like you have all the time. And what if you were willing to like be the chaos that asks somebody a question that's like actually a different deep dive into exploring what people, are aware of and what they know. And right now, for me, more than ever, I feel like people are kind of craving that sort of engagement, where you get to actually learn about another person and see how they are. So
Yeah.
I'll ask random people questions on airplanes or, and then people have a choice to either continue to engage or not.
Can you share like what are some of the questions, the random questions you ask?
I honestly, I don't know if it's like a weird thing where they just pop out. Sometimes they're probably inappropriate or too personal. I don't know. I'll just be in a conversation with someone and really be interested in where it could go. And then ask questions that sort of, to different spaces and places. I'm trying to think of one. I'm kind of jet lagged. I'm off of a week-long Europe trip, which I didn't really necessarily have any random conversations then, but I don't know. Like there was one time I was on an airplane and I was sitting next to a guy and I don't even know how it got started, but I just kept asking him questions and he turned out to be like a neuroscientist or some sort of scientist at a university here in Colorado where I live. And I was like, oh, so are you studying anything cool? Like I'm not a scientist, but I was trying to just like see what was there, because sometimes I get a sense of like there is more to this story that I would like to know about and just keep going. And well, this was many years ago, but he was like leading the project that was studying these what were they called? They were called like neutrinos, which were molecules that don't have a positive or a negative charge, which, we're looking at conversations and consciousness, and consciousness is all about not having a positive and negative charge. And so he was basically talking to me about how it's almost impossible to study, because the moment somebody, a person, a scientist, whatever, puts their attention on it, the molecule takes a charge. So I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm talking to like, someone who's studying molecules of consciousness. And I'm sure he doesn't remember that conversation at all, but it stuck with me,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that.
Out in the world. And like, who can I talk to today? And what conversation can be had that lights me up or lights the world up or gives me information or awareness that I can use to create something different.
Yes. That's so powerful and such a great way to live your life, to like walk through the world. And I love where you're talking about like little chaos bombs, like just that conversation with a mom, like, everyone's in their script and the person willing to ask the question off script. And you're like, whoa, are we improvising here? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it can be, I don't know. I find those moments, I've gotten through that awkwardness where they like kind of look at, you'll know in a nanosecond if someone's willing to have a different conversation or not.
Yeah.
We
talk about that for a minute, because how often have we actually tried to engage in like a conscious conversation with someone that's not willing to go there, and then we walk around, or I do anyways, I've walked away being like, I'm so wrong and weird and like judging myself, rather than like asking the question, can this person like have a conscious conversation with me? Like, are they willing to receive this?
Totally. And what if you never judged you? What if you never judged you for whatever is going on, and you really like looked at it from, okay, those types of moments I get to look at. I mean, after many years, I did a lot of judgment of myself, and I still do, but oftentimes now I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm different. How cool that I just got another example of how different I am. Not different in a sense of right or wrong, but just like I'm different, so what else? What's next? Other than I'm less than or superior, like, judgment, the positive or negative judgment that those kinds of conversations can sort of create, or interactions, I should say.
Yeah. So we're both part of something incredible with Mr. Gary Douglas, called Conversations in Consciousness. We get together twice a month and have these conversations. Gary leads them. Can you talk about what it's been for you to be in this membership? And I'll start there. I'm just going to ask you like 3 questions at once.
I know. So I was like, we were asking about the, when somebody, disengages with you or judges you in a conversation or whatever. What I'm noticing is that these conversations in consciousness with Gary, they're going into like the Access Consciousness tools are by far like my favorite thing in the entire world that I use every single day to have a greater life, and using them for so many years, right? And then on these different calls, it's like everything is going deeper. So like I can't remember, it was in the last month or so. He had a conversation with someone and he was like, you need to ask what's right about me I'm not getting. And now it's like, I heard that tool 13 years ago. The way that he talked about it and the way that he like presented it, now I'm really getting like, today I woke up and I was like, God, I feel so weird. And, like I have these like things going through my head of like judgments of myself. And then I was like, all right, hey, what's right about me I'm not getting? And it started shifting everything. And so for me, these like, that's what I'm loving about it, is he even said it on the last one. It's like, these are going deeper than any other class or telecall or anything that he's done. And I don't even know exactly how he's doing it, but it's like, it sticks with you, or it, like for me, it's like, okay, it's like giving me this different platform from to live daily from, which is, bizarre to me. Like bizarre that it's going deeper,
Yeah. And thank you actually for putting words to that platform. That's really cool. Do you have a favorite conversation?
All of them are so incredible. We did a year of it and he just started again. I think have we done 1 month or 2 months? I can't even remember.
Yeah, we're in the second month. Yeah.
We're in the second month. Okay. Every time, like it's quite phenomenal because you have people that, are regularly asking questions, or you have people that'll come on and it's the first time they've asked something, but every single question applies to me personally. I mean, like, I'm like, holy shit, like that was just such a brilliant way of getting more awareness or clarity on whatever it is. I think some of my favorites moments are like, there was one last year, there was this guy on there and he was like asking Gary something like, how do I create my life, or how do I create my business or whatever? And he's like, I need to ask, what would I like to have? Or he gave him like a base, again, kind of like a basic tool. And the guy was so cute and vulnerable. And he was like, okay, do I ask it once or do I say it like all day long until it shows up? And Gary's like, well, if you're, I'm an infinite being, so I'll just ask it once. But if you wanted to ask it 100 times, it was so funny because it's like, how much do we do that? If you're using the Access tools, I'll be like, oh my God, I got to ask, who does it belong to, like 100 times a day, and like obsessively use the tools rather than sort of like allow the tools to work for you from a relaxed space. So those are my favorite moments right now, is just getting kind of like that deeper sense of how much easier it can be and how much more relaxation is possible. And like you asked a question, I think it was on the last one, about creating classes as a facilitator. And he was like, relax. And I was like, oh.
Like, no, I need the thing to know so I can do the thing.
Yeah. Like, are we like creating a future? We got to get going and we've got things to do and results to get. And, and he's like, relax. Everything's changing so much. And I was like, but, since that, I forget when that was. It was like a month ago, probably. I've noticed everything that I'm creating with, tap into that energy of the question that you asked. I'm like, and then everything is showing up easier. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Only on Zoom.
Yeah. Well, and that conversation was cool. Talk about a chaos bomb, because something I love about Gary is that you might come with a question. So I had that question and he did engage in that. And we had a short conversation. And then I was curious about something he had talked to someone else about. And he turns it on me. That was like the little chaos. And I'm like, what? Why are we talking about me? But he's willing to ask that question, that like a conversation with Gary doesn't go linear. Like, you can't control that. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to ask the perfect question the perfect way. And then here's the script. Gary, don't you have the script? Like, I have my lines, and he just doesn't have
my lines. Now you say your lines. Exactly.
Yeah. And he'll be like some off book thing. And you're like, and then you have to like really look to from a different space of an awareness and gain more awareness to actually move forward in the conversation, which is kind of, in a way, I get like teaching us all to have different conversations. Like if we're willing to really pay attention and see how conversations go, you can be like, oh, wow, I could apply this to my life. I could have this more in different ways in different areas. So I'm so grateful for these calls with him.
Yeah. And how much is he showing us how to actually be the consciousness that we, are asking for in conversations with everyone and everything. It's like, if you're willing to, he's not willing to not stir the pot. He's not willing to like have you just sit and be comfortable, which I think is part of that thing that we started with. Like, everyone does this like do, my line, your line, and then things like stays the same. rather than like, hey, what question can I ask this person that may have them walk away just like spinning, but what if that's okay? You know? And that's been really cool. I think it's also very, it's conversations in consciousness. And then I was joking with Andrew Gardella was like, I'm calling it conversations with Gary, because it's just like, it's so unique to have the space to have these conversations with him. Like, it's not like a class or a telecall or anything like that. It's very, very different. And I can't believe that more people, because anyone who's a facilitator of any kind can be on it. I can't believe more people don't choose it. So I'm pucking and potting my projections and expectations that everyone should choose it.
Yeah,
but it's great.
What's
your favorite moment so far?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have so many also. When that's popping, and it was such a small little moment, but I swear in one sentence, Gary can like explode your universe. But he was actually talking to a participant about time recently. And he's like, if you don't acknowledge that you are a master of time and that you change time, then and I know this because I've heard like if you don't use the capacity, you could use it against you. But it was like really like the platform, like it was really like putting it in this way. And I'm like, wow, I've always like engaged with time, like played with it, but never really went, oh, I actually have this capacity here. And then he was showing how this one little thing about time that really, it seems like it's just time, whatever, let's just put it over here. But he started to put it into how it relates to this reality and her desire to like almost be liked by this reality because of time. Yeah. And I'm like, how did those, oh my God, like those go together? And because time is a reality. And I'm like so many things, it just changed everything. Like the conversations that changed everything, that I wasn't necessarily like talking, but I was engaged in that conversation in a way that just, really opened my world.
It's like you're involved in these conversations that are just completely world changing, reality shifting, and everything. So.
Yeah. I'm just so grateful. I remember, I used to go live to Costa Rica for certified facilitators training, right? And there'd be like the dining hall, and then there'd be like Gary and Dane, and like you'd be there, and there'd be some like staff members, like, and I'd be like, man, the conversations they probably have, I'd walk by and I'd be like, wow, that's so awesome. So when this came, I'm like, it's like going to the table. It's like I get invited to dinner with Gary, and I'm going to have some wicked conversations with him.
Totally.
Like, how cool.
And if you're willing to add, like whatever I think that's the other thing, is the vulnerability on these calls has been incredible. There's no question that's off limits, and that can sound scary kind of, I guess, but it's really like, if you're willing to just sit and engage and like you said, like a dinner table that changes your entire world. And it has that relaxed sense to it as well. That you're just like sitting down and seeing what's up that day. So I love that analogy. Yeah. In your world, if you sit at those tables, especially with Gary and Dane, you get changed for, like, you might not even think that you are desiring change. Get it anyway. It's a byproduct, Yeah. So it's very funny.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. It contributed a lot to me, Megan.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Cassie is Gary did it. Gary did this program for a year. If you guys are listening, it's 2 calls per month for a ridiculously low price, for $300, which is crazy cheap to me, for him. But for the second round, there wasn't as many people signed up. And so it was sort of like, oh, I guess nobody really wants it. And then there were a few people who just were like demanding it. And Cassie is one of them. So you can thank her if you're on the program because Gary's like, all right, I'm doing it no matter what. So that demand too, like, he's so committed to it. He's going to be there no matter what. So he changed my world, even with choice as well. Like, okay, there are people who desire to have these conversations, so I'm going to be there, which is different, you know?
Wow, that kind of made me tear up for a minute. Like to have such like showing up for consciousness, I guess, and showing up for a greater world. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. And what if that's really what that's what I desire. And, you know, if you look out, especially now, like, I don't know about you, but when I started Access Consciousness and playing with the tools, there wasn't social media. There wasn't like everyone's mom wasn't a life coach, you know? And so now it's like, I feel like the world is inundated with stuff, which is so cool. Like, how awesome to have a completely, like, a plethora of different possibilities and modalities to explore. And like, at the end of the day, like, what if you could really actually change the world by every choice you make and every conversation you have? And what if that's actually like not only possible, but what you do that you haven't acknowledged just by being you? And so for me, these conversations, like, are these, you know, like monthly, twice monthly reminders of like keeping me going, you know, that it's like this is not only possible, but we're creating it in however way, you know, you are.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the most beautiful way to end it. Thank you. Okay. We have in the description, guys, we have a link to Gary's to this membership. If you want to check it out and explore it, you could pop on and have a conversation that changes everything.
Yeah, you can pop on for a month, you can pop off for a month. It's total choice. But why not be on all of them is what I say, you know.
Yeah. I am. But yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And it's trying.